Hey guys, tonight we're unfolding a letter from Nikola Tesla, but not one written on paper. This letter only arrives in dreams. It travels across decades of forgotten sleep, folded in strange geometry, carried by pigeons who know things they shouldn't. You're in it now, right at the edge of dreaming. Tesla's world is waiting just past the static in your mind. Gears turning behind your thoughts, wires tightening around memories you didn't mean to keep. You probably won't survive this, at least not as the same version of yourself who hit play. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're listening from somewhere unexpected like a tiny apartment in Berlin or the back of a parked car in snow, Paulo dropped your location and local time in the comments below. Turn off the lights, grab a cozy blanket, and get ready, because our journey tonight is about to begin. Starts with a knock, not loud, not rushed, just patient. 3 soft taps. You open your eyes. The ceiling is familiar but wrong. Something in the shadows feels off, like they've been rehearsing behind your back. The air smells faintly of ozone and old candle wax. There's no one at your door. No door at all, actually. Just a soft rectangle of light flickering at the edge of your bed. An envelope. It sits perfectly still on the floor, surrounded by silence, so complete it almost rings in your ears. You notice the carpet beneath it shifting, like heat waves over asphalt, as if the envelope is generating its own dimension. Right there on the woven fabric. You pick it up. It's warm to the touch, warmer than it should be. The surface is rough, fibrous, but humming underneath like a transformer, trying not to explode. It's sealed with what looks like mercury frozen in mid-drip, shaped into the wings of a bird, likely a pigeon. You remember, vaguely, that Tesla loved pigeons, claimed one of them spoke to him. Historians still argue whether that was madness, metaphor, or something else entirely. You don't open it. Not yet. Instead, you blink, and the room's gone. You're no longer in your bed. You're sitting at a long wooden table, lit by a single coil, buzzing quietly as the wallpaper is peeling in long, tired strips. An Edison-style bulb swings overhead, pulsing softly like it's syncing with your heartbeat. The coil on the table crackles faintly. A breeze passes through the room from nowhere. It's carrying the faint smell of machine oil and oranges. Beside the envelope on the table lies a second object, a brass key, small, worn. It hums to same frequency, same feeling. You open the envelope, but what comes out isn't paper. It's a kind of light, not blinding, soft. It folds upward in spirals and drifts toward your chest. You breathe it in before realizing you're doing it. Inside tastes like metal and memory, and then, beneath the hum, a voice. Tesla, if this has reached you, then the experiment worked. His voice is strange, like a phonograph underwater. It's accented, but not quite from anywhere you know. It's calmer than you expected. He continues, I am speaking to the one who dreams. It's not because you are special, but because you are listening. This message is not a call. It is a question. The answer lives in you, as it once lived in me. You feel a chill roll across your skin. The key vibrates slightly. The coil flashes once. Then Tesla speaks again. Time is not a line. It is a field. Letters can grow in it, like seeds. Ideas, too. You hold the key tightly. You don't know why, but it feels like a part of you now. The room creaks. Walls shift. Somewhere above, a pipe groans with the sound of shifting gravity. You stand. The letter disintegrates in your hands like ash swept by a wind you can't feel. One wall breathes open, not a door, just a wall deciding it wants to be something else. You step through. You're inside a corridor, now long, dark, lit only by thin neon wires crawling along the ceiling like veins. The floor is smooth still, cold beneath your feet. You hear your own footsteps echo like the tick of an unfamiliar clock. The hallway narrows, then widens again into a vast circular chamber. Every surface reflects your image, but slightly delayed. You raise your hand, and the mirrors copy you. A second too late. In the center stands a pedestal, and atop it, a photograph, Tesla, but not the one you know. Not the wild-haired genius from black and white photos. This Tesla wears modern clothes, slim black slacks, a silver-threaded coat. He's smiling, standing next to someone who looks eerily like you. The key in your hand pulses, and behind you, a door opens silently. Inside the next room, hundreds of letters hover mid, fluttering slowly, suspended like feathers in honey, each one sealed with the same Mercury-winged symbol. A mechanical arm plucks one letter from the air and tucks it into a glass tube. The tube seals itself, drops through a brass chute, and vanishes. You stare at it. Then you notice something etched into the floor beneath your feet. It reads, Sender, N. Tesla recipient. Future consciousness O for you. Ask yourself quietly, inside your chest, how many other recipients there have been? How many have listened? How many have made it this far? Somewhere, a bell chimes once, soft, low, end. You look down. Another envelope has appeared in your hand. You pass through the second knot wall, the way breath leaves lungs, softly, involuntarily. No doors creak open, no hinges moan. The world just rearranges itself like it's been expecting you. You step into a room that shouldn't fit inside your apartment. It's at least 5 stories tall, though there's no ceiling, just a dark sky laced with copper constellations. The walls curve gently, like the inside of an antique radio. You're standing in what feels like a cathedral built from Tesla's imagination. All around, machines pulse quietly in dreamtime. Some are shaped like violins, others like umbrellas, and a few are just humming cubes that float silently 3 feet off the ground. You reach out to touch one, and it folds away from your fingers like a gentle refusal. The copper wire you've been following twitches like a living thing, winding around your ankle like a curious cat before darting deeper into the room. Follow it across a floor made of warm brass tiles that hum like they're alive. You pass by a painting that wasn't painted. It's floating, suspended, shimmering with scenes from different versions of your life. In one, you're climbing a mountain alone. In another, you're laughing with strangers around a fire in what looks like 18th century clothing. You look good in lace, weirdly dot. One machine near the far wall catches your eye. It looks like a wardrobe, but it's covered in dials, antennas, and something that might be a bird bath bolted to its side. A gentle pulse emits from it, like a heart that's not sure if it belongs to you or someone else. A plaque beside it reads, Chamber for the Conversion of Nonlinear Memory. Prototype 3, Tesla, 1917 dream copy. Historians still argue whether Tesla really continued building devices in the last years of his life or simply withdrew into theory. Some claim he was secretly working on machines that could bend perception. Others insist he had lost all funding and was living almost in poverty, feeding pigeons and sketching in notebooks no one was allowed to see. You kneel to examine the device. Its wires lead to a second machine, a massive, wall-sized frame displaying your own handwriting. It's looping slowly across the surface like an old film reel, spelling out thoughts you didn't even know you'd had. Why does this feel familiar? How do I know the smell of ozone and violets? I shouldn't be this calm. Exactly. You shouldn't. But dream logic doesn't negotiate. You sit down on the floor, and the wire curls around your wrist, leading you forward. The room begins to shift. The machines don't move, the room does. The floor peels upward like the page of a book, and you slide effortlessly through it, like syrup through a funnel. When the world stills, you're no longer inside a building. You're standing on a narrow street paved with black glass, surrounded by structures that defy geometry. There's a clock tower shaped like a Mobius strip, a postbox made of vines, streetlights that sway on their own, humming lullabies. In Morse code, a woman walks past with a parasol made entirely of Tesla coils. She doesn't acknowledge you, but her shadow winks above. The sky is deeper than any real night sky you've ever seen. Stars flicker, not with white light, but electric blue, like tiny generators spinning in space. One of them briefly flares into the shape of a gear, then vanishes. You realize something important. This isn't just a dream of the future. This is Tesla's version of the future. A world where his ideas weren't shelved or stolen or buried, but followed. Imagine a world where Wardenclyffe Tower worked, where wireless energy spread across cities without wires or pollution, where machines whispered your thoughts into reality. Mainstream history says Tesla's dream of global wireless power was a failure. But in this dream, failure's just a version you didn't choose. You wander. No one stops you. Everyone here seems too wrapped in their own peculiar loops, walking musical scales, painting with light beams, debating philosophy with pigeons. In Botti's, you turn a corner and find a man playing chess against a machine shaped like a swan. The swan is winning. A whisper rises again. It's Tesla's voice, but this time clearer. You're still tethered. The thread remembers your shape. You look down. The copper wire is still wrapped around your wrist, a T, but now it glows faintly. It's pulsing, like it's syncing with your heartbeats or controlling it. You try to ask a question aloud, but your voice comes out in static. Instead, the wire responds by tugging again, gently but firmly, pulling you into an alleyway made of folded time. That's not metaphorically, literally folding, like a pleated curtain of shadow dot inside. It's darker, but warmer. The air smells like burned sugar and electricity. You pass a mural that depicts Tesla standing at a giant console, holding a globe. Underneath is written, "The dreamer, still dreaming." And then you see it, a mirror, old, cracked, the kind you'd find in an attic, but it reflects two versions of you. One looks normal, the other is wearing the same clothes, same face, but eyes like deep pools of starlight. You stare. The starlight version blinks. You feel it in your chest. Tesla's voice murmurs, again, faintly amused. Some mirrors only show who you are in dreams. Choose carefully. You reach forward. It's not to touch the mirror, to step through, 'cause somehow you know this is what the letter wanted. This was always the way forward. You pass through. A chill runs through your bones, but only for a moment. On the other side is a room even stranger than the last. This one is full of letters, floating in the air, suspended like jellyfish. All sealed, all addressed to the one who remembers. And you do, don't you? Remember? A feeling, a fragment, something behind your eyes that isn't quite memory and isn't quite fiction. A scent of static, the sound of old wires, the echo of a name that starts with T and ends in electricity. You walk among the letters, and each one whispers a version of your future, not with words, with sensations. A cold beach, a warm hand. Silence, after laughter, the weight of knowing you're crying and you don't know why. Maybe you missed something that hasn't happened yet. Maybe it already did. The copper wire trembles. You're almost there. Almost to the part Tesla said would be hardest. The part where the letter starts writing you. The room of letters hums like a hive, not loud, but steady, like a low chord sustained across time. You drift between the floating envelopes as if underwater, each one tugging softly at your mind. A few brush your shoulders, but no, others move aside, politely. None fall. The wire around your wrist tightens slightly, not painfully, more like a reminder. You glance down, and now it's braided with a second thread, silver, thin as breath, around you. That's unsettling, or it would be if anything here made normal sense. A soft chime echoes, not from a machine, from a door. You hadn't seen it before. It's a narrow archway of glowing wood, with hinges made from watch gears. The words etched above it shift as you stare, resolving into something legible only when you stop trying to read. Step only if unfinished. You snort, as if anyone here is finished. You step through. Inside, the world narrows. A corridor unfolds, not straight, but spiraling, lined with ticking clocks. Some were digital, others cuckoo. One is just a circle of sand orbiting a glowing pebble. None match, none agree. They tick out of sync like a dozen different futures, arguing over who gets to go first. You walk, and the corridor stretches like taffy. At the end, a desk, an old one mahogany covered in pencil shavings and scratched with formulas. Seated behind it is Tesla, or at least something that thinks it's Tesla. His hair crackles with energy. His fingers leave trails of light. His eyes, though they flicker like old film reels. Sit, he says, gesturing to the chair opposite him. You've brought the signal further than expected. Your legs move before your mind catches up. The copper and silver threads loosen, just enough for you to settle into the chair. Tesla leans forward. Do you know what a dream echo is? You shake your head. It's a signal, he says, transmitted not through time, but through possibility. Realities hum in different frequencies. Most people only hear one. You're resonating. He flicks his fingers, and a holographic sphere appears above the desk. Inside, spinning cities, ideas, and ruins. Some futures bright, others dim. One is on fire, another is made entirely of water. He gestures. Most are closed systems. You, however, found the wire. You ask emptily what the wire is. He smiles, slightly smug. An accident, my best one. Failed experiment that didn't fail hard enough. Historians still argue whether Tesla's thought camera, an alleged device to record mental images, was ever real. No blueprints were found, but in this dream, you're staring at its ghost. Tesla waves his hand again, and the sphere zooms in. You see yourself again, not here, not now. Another version. One who never opened the letter. One who slept through the storm. One who forgot. Then you see a pigeon. Not just any pigeon, a white one with glowing eyes. Lands on the desk between you. Tesla strokes its wing without looking. I told them, he murmurs. I told the men in coats that the white pigeon was important. They laughed, thought I'd gone soft. But she carried the first resonance. This part is real. Tesla famously claimed he loved a white pigeon who visited his window. Hey, said she was more than an animal. Hey, said she spoke to him in color. The pigeon opens its beak. A glimmering key drops out. Tesla slides it to you. You'll need this soon. Not here, in the blackout zone. You tried to ask what that is, but Tesla cut you off. Don't waste the question. You only get 3 dream rules. You hesitate. Your first question, what happens if I follow the wrong future? Tesla leans back, frowns slightly. Then you keep dreaming until you stop being you. The second question comes quicker. Is this real? He tilts his head. If it feels real, what difference does it make? That's fair. That's frustrating. You hold your tongue for the third. Tesla smiles as if you made the right call. I won't remember this, he says. I'm not me. I'm a recording built from fragments of your mind and mind. But the key is real. He vanishes. Not dramatically. It just isn't anymore. Pigeon flutters onto your shoulder. Doesn't weigh anything. Doesn't blink. You pocket the key, and the copper-silver thread pulls taut again. The corridor behind you unravels. Not collapses. Unravels. As if it was never solid. Now, you're standing in a field. Not a metaphorical one. An actual field. Grass up to your knees. Wind like velvet. Stars above, spinning far too fast. In the distance, a tower, tall, metal, flickering, with light from no obvious source. WARDENCLYFFE. You start walking. The pigeon stays on your shoulder, warm and motionless. Every step forward feels slower, heavier. You start to remember things you shouldn't. Snippets from lives you haven't lived yet. A future where you build something called a sleep antenna. Another where you speak only in color. Ahead, the tower glows brighter, but there's something wrong. You can't see the base. It's just the spire. Everything else is black. That's the blackout zone. The pigeon nuzzles your ear. You hear Tesla's voice again. You don't get to turn back. You chose this letter. So you keep walking, even though the grass vanishes beneath your feet, even though the world ahead becomes static, because something's waiting in the blackout, something that wrote you into the story. You step forward, and the blackout swallows you like ink dropped in water fast, absolute and eerily silent. No more pigeon, no more grass, no more sky, only darkness, but not the empty kind. Why? This darkness listens. You stand on what feels like glass, smooth and pulsing gently beneath your feet. You're not falling, but there's no horizon, no depth, just this impossible space that hums with tension. It's like a theater. Just before the curtain lifts, the copper-silver thread twitches around your wrist, then unwinds entirely, floats upward, disappears. For the first time since the dream began, you're alone. A faint click behind you. You spin, and there's a desk lamp. That's it. It's a basic, green-shaded banker's lamp, glowing gently in the void. You didn't bring it. It didn't fade in. It just is. You walk toward it. There's a desk now, too, and a single piece of paper beneath the lamp. The light doesn't touch anything else. It's like a bubble. You sit. It's no chair, but somehow you're sitting. The paper reads, "The letter is incomplete. You must finish it." Your heart sinks. You were expecting answers, not assignments. Another piece of paper fades in, blank. Then a third. Then dozens, fanning out into the dark, all blank, all pulsing softly like a heartbeat you don't recognize. Historians still argue whether Tesla's final papers were confiscated by the US government or simply lost to time and chaos. But what if they were scattered on purpose, not physically, but conceptually spread across dreaming minds like yours? A voice speaks. It's not Tesla, someone else. It's your own voice, but older, weathered, calm, in a way that you've never been. Write what you remember, not what you know. What you remember. You lift your hand. A pen appears between your fingers. You don't question it. You write. At first, nonsense. Scribbles. Words like signal and pattern loop and hydrostatic. Echo. You don't know what any of it means. Then, he wrote from within the dream, not outside it. Then, the machine only worked because no one believed it. Then, reality is a terrible place for experiments. You stop. The words aren't yours. Or maybe they are, but not yet. You look up, and now the darkness is full of people or shadows, watching, listening. They shimmer like old TV static. One of them steps forward. It's Tesla again, but different. Younger, pre-1890s, before the failures, before the loneliness. He holds a device shaped like a harp, with lightning dancing between its strings. "It's incomplete," he says. "That's the point. Dreams don't finish. They recycle." You ask him, what was the original letter? Gestures, not what you read, what you heard when you read it. That's the letter. You don't remember hearing anything until now, faintly. Guy, under your skin, you feel it a low hum, like Morse code whispered through your bones. Not words, tones, frequencies. The letter wasn't text, it was resonance. You flinch. The harp device flickers, and suddenly you remember the moment you found the envelope. The dream logic peels away for a second. Real memory bleeds through. Drawer you'd never opened. A storm outside. The envelope pulsing faintly inside. Not words, but warmth and a smell. Violet and ozone. It hadn't made sense. You assumed it was a dream. Maybe it was. You look at Tesla's harp again. He plucks one note, and the void shakes. A pattern flashes across the darkness. Thousands of blueprints suspended for an instant, too fast to catch. Among them, Wardenclyffe Tower, a radio, a bed, a drawing of your hand. You're not the first, he says, but you're the clearest so far. You ask him, clear, for what? He leans closer, to finish the letter from the other side. What side is this? He grins. The one after belief. The one when nothing has to be possible, only felt. A second chair appears beside you. Tesla sits. Not young Tesla, not old. Some version, in between. Maybe not even him, really? He gestures to the blank pages. Go on, you ask. What am I supposed to write? Okay. He shrugs. Doesn't matter. It's the moment you believe it's important. It will be. Your pen moves again. It's time. You write what you feel. Cold metal. Static against your teeth. A soft click of recognition. A future without wires. A voice that sounds like sleep. You pause. Then you write. If you're reading this, I have remembered you. You don't know who you is. What the page responds. The words sink into the paper, then glow. Around you, the watchers begin to hum. The void pulses with energy. You hear distant laughter, thunder, a lullaby made of wind and magnets. Tesla watches. Satisfied, he says softly, you're almost ready to wake up, but not yet. First, you must see the archive. You ask him, where is it? K points. The void opens. Just a crack. Enough to see a hallway of flickering screens. Thousands of images playing at once for people sleeping, dreaming, building things they don't understand. And in every image, a glowing letter. Tesla says, these are all the people who almost remembered. You step forward. The key in your pocket begins to vibrate. It's time to use it. The dream tightens around you like a jacket that suddenly fits. And for the first time, you understand. The letter was never about Tesla. It was about what you were supposed to become after reading it. The crack in the void widens without ceremony, no flash, no sound, just a widening curtain of dream, revealing the place Tesla called the archive. It's not what you expect. The hallway is narrow, it's dusty, and smells faintly of rain and soldered metal. Wires crawl across the ceiling like ivy. The walls are lined with tiny, flickering screens, each no larger than a matchbox, but showing full, living memories like miniature films. A woman walking through snow, holding a notebook. A child carving spirals into sand with a copper stick. A man alone in a lab, whispering equations to his reflection. Each screen bears a label, but the language shifts every time you glance. Okay, you stop trying to read them. Tesla drifts behind Euless, like a man now, more like a projection, held together by conviction. His boots make no sound. He says, this place stores not the inventions, but the moments before invention. The electric. If you walk, the pigeon is back now, nesting quietly on your shoulder. Its feathers shimmer faintly, like it's catching signals. Even here, the copper silver key in your pocket warms against your leg. You pull it out. Shape has changed again. Now it resembles a circuit bent into the curve of a musical note. Which door does this open? You ask. Tesla doesn't answer. He just nods toward a frame at the end of the hall, a doorway with no wall, freestanding like a mirage. Behind it, more darkness. Something hums beyond. You step through. Inside is a room filled with clocks, but these don't tick. They breathe. The hands don't spin. They ripple like reflections in disturbed water. At the center of the room, a table. Upon it, a cube. Simple, black, silent. Tesla murmurs, this is where I hid the last line. You approach the cube, and as your fingers graze it, warmth spreads through your chest like a memory returning. You ask, the last line of what? The letter, he says. The one I couldn't finish, not with words. You lift the cube. It feels both heavy and hollow, and then click. The key in your hand slides into a barely visible groove on the side. With a hiss, the cube unfolds, not mechanically, more like a blooming idea. Inside, light, soft, golden, and oddly floral. Not a device, not a message, a sound, a frequency your ears ring with it. Not painfully, just insistently, like something recognizing you. Your vision shifts. The clocks ripple faster. The floor becomes translucent. Beneath it, you see rivers of color, data, memory, maybe even time itself flowing in luminous streams. Tesla looks satisfied. That's it. You've tuned yourself to the echo. The letter now writes itself through you. You ask, so I'm the machine. He laughs, not mockingly, but like someone who's waited too long to hear someone else catch on. You always where historians still argue whether Tesla ever finished building his world wireless system. Some say it was dismantled. Others say it never worked. But there's a theory fringe, yes, that it worked perfectly. It's not in the physical world. That's what this is. The machine never turned on in reality because it didn't need to. It activated here. In minds like yours, you kneel beside the flowing time beneath the glass. Your reflection ripples back down your face now, of flickering images of moments that haven't happened yet, a future you haven't met, a decision you haven't made, an invention you don't know how to build, and still, that gentle frequency, threading it all together. Tesla speaks again, softer now, not, you have two choices. You, brace yourself, forget this, wake up, let the echo fade, or, follow it, finish the dream. Let the letter pass through you. You ask, and if I follow it? He tilts his head. You'll never quite wake up the same. You sit quietly for a while, watching the cube, listening to the hum. The pigeon pecks your ear gently, like a clock, striking the hour. You rise. The decision feels already made. Tesla smiles, and his form starts to unravel threads of light pulling away. Good, he says. I was hoping you'd say that. He leaves behind only a fragment, a spinning coin with his initials, and a date that hasn't happened yet. You pocket it. The floor beneath you flickers, and the cube dissolves into your hand, absorbed, internalized. You are the letter now. You walk forward, and the archive begins to dissolve behind you. Each screen blinking off, each corridor folding away like dream origami. At the very end, a new door, no frame, just light. You step through and instantly, you're somewhere else, a library, but not one made of books. Shelves line the walls, but they're filled with objects, cracked teacups, broken radios, handwritten notes, single shoelaces. Each item thrums with significance. Each item is a failed invention, a lost idea, or a moment that almost became something more. You realize this is where forgotten genius lives, and waiting on a nearby table. Another envelope. It glows with the same warm pulse as the first. You open it. Inside, not words, not pictures, but a mirror. You look into it, okay? And the reflection isn't you, but every version of you. The version that became an engineer. The version that wandered away and wrote poetry in the forest. The version that never found the letter at all. They all stare back. Some nod, some smile, some look afraid. One whispers something. You can't hear it yet, but you will, because you're not done, because the dream didn't end. It recruited you, because Tesla didn't send a letter. He sent a reminder that the future is soft clay, still warm, still shapeable, and someone somewhere has to keep dreaming it forward. You place the mirror down, gently, like it might shatter the dream if disturbed too quickly. Even as you turn away, your reflection lingers a moment longer than it should, just watching you go. The pigeon stays close, maybe too close. You're beginning to suspect it's not actually a pigeon at all. Its eyes look suspiciously intelligent now, glinting in the library's ambient light. You mutter, you're enjoying this, aren't you? It coos like a guilty conscience with feathers. You walk the aisles of forgotten futures. There's an entire shelf labeled brilliant mistakes. You pause. One object immediately catches your Aja melted tuning fork embedded in a chunk of glass. Attached is a tiny note. The day music learned to echo back. Historians still argue whether Tesla's experiment with musical frequencies in Colorado Springs was an actual test of harmonic resonance, or if he was just trying to make thunder sing. The truth might be somewhere in between. You lift the tuning fork. For a moment, the library responds. The air vibrates like the moment before a concert begins. Shelves shiver. Light flickers rhythmically. Somewhere in the distance, something unlocks. You follow the sound through a narrow corridor. It's more like a throat than a hallway. The floor is soft, not carpet, something alive, like moss that hums with curiosity. A wall opens. It's not like a door, More like it's decided to no longer be a wall. Inside, a theater. It's grand, domed, and seemingly endless. The seats are empty, but you feel the weight of an audience. Some watching now, some from other times, some who haven't been born yet. The stage is lit by a soft amber glow. At its center, another letter. You're not even surprised this time. You cross the stage, your steps echoing like distant thunder. The envelope is old, really old. The paper crackles like frost. You open it. Dicked. Nothing inside except a folded diagram, sketched in Tesla's unmistakable hand. His notes are full of spirals, arrows, loops, and the kind of handwriting that implies a man arguing with the speed of light. You recognize Wardenclyffe Tower again, but it's drawn upside down. Beneath it, a single word, anchor. You hear a soft buzz. The air bends. The pigeon flaps up in a panic, circling once before landing on the curtain rail. Something has shifted. A section of the stage opens, revealing a spiral staircase, plunging down into flickering shadow. Because of course, it does. You descend. The steps pulse softly underfoot, counting down in vibrations. 30, 29, 20-8. At step 22, you get that feeling again, like you've forgotten something important. You try to remember. When did you fall asleep tonight? Was this a nap? Was it even today? The staircase ends in a circular chamber. The walls are ringed with control panels dials. Levers coil, some glowing faintly, some humming with unreadable intention. At the center, a chair. You sit. The chair accepts you. It's the only way to describe it. It's not that it's comfortable, just that you've clearly sat here before. From the wall in front of you, a soft click. A screen flickers to life. Then another. Then 37 more. They show moments, not scenes from the dream, from your life, but skewed, recolored, echoed. There you are, reading a book, but the pages are in a language that doesn't exist. There you are, walking down your street, but there's no sky, just shifting fractals above. There you are, older, eyes wide, smiling at something you can't see. The chair vibrates. A panel opens beside you, revealing a console. 3 switches, a dial, a red button. Classic design, comforting, almost a voice. Tesla again, but far away. Like through a warped gramophone, you're seeing the shadow projections. These are fragments the machine picked up when you first received the letter. They've been circling your subconscious ever since. You ask aloud, what happens if I press the button? Tesla answers cryptically, depends what frequency your heart has chosen. Your heart. You place a hand over your chest. It's not beating like normal. It's oscillating, exactly like a tuning fork. You touch the dial. It responds to your thoughts. The more you concentrate, the more it aligns itself. Frequencies flash across the screen. 7.83 Hertz, 432 Hertz, 963 Hertz. Each tied to different emotional states. Earth, healing, consciousness. Then one flickers on screen you don't recognize. 1221 GA. It glows red. Tesla whispers, that's the one no one's tried yet. Of course it is. You turn the dial to 1221. The air folds in on itself. A low vibrates your teeth. Your vision doubles, then REALIGNS. Now, the chamber is full of light. Not bright, dense, like you're underwater in sunlight. The screens go blank. The pigeon vanishes in a flash of static. You stand. The control panel dissolves, and something begins to rise from the floor. A structure, mechanical, organic, circular, and spiraled, like a gyroscope made of light and nerves. It's the real letter, not a page, not a sound, but a device that is the message. You recognize parts of it from your dreams, curves from your childhood doodles, echoes from old songs, a voice you once heard while half asleep in a car as rain tapped the windows. The message was always pieced together from your life. You step forward, and it opens like a flower. Inside, a heartbeat. Yours, yes, but also Tesla's. The two blend, synced out, and suddenly, you understand? The letter was never meant to be read. It was meant to change how you perceive reading. Like music played through a silent instrument, you whisper, "So what now?" Tesla answers, not with words, but by becoming part of the machine. His image fractures and joins the spiral. A faint wind rises. Even though there's no air, the theater above dissolves. The library vanishes. Only the spiral remains. And you, it pulses once. Then the lights go out. You blinked, but the darkness stays. No spiral, no theater, no pigeon. Just black velvet silence, but not empty. You can feel something forming around you, within you, behind your left shoulder maybe. Subtle presence, like being watched by your own potential. Then, one pinpoint of light, followed by another. They spread like stars across the dark. But they're not stars, they're versions, fragments of outcomes, small and glowing. Each one flickers with a life you didn't live. The version of you who answered that email, the one who left her hometown at 19, the you who never lost touch with that friend. A soft voice nod. Tesla this time, but yours, from somewhere deeper says, these are all messages too. You float forward, weightless. Each version whispers a lesson. One hums a lullaby you've never heard. One simply nods. The other gives you a look that says, you already know. And maybe you do. You turn slowly through this galaxy of selves. Every light glows softly when you pass. They're not jealous. They're not sad. They're just dormant. Seeds in stasis. Historians still argue whether Tesla ever really communicated with other versions of himself across timelines or whether that was just sleep-deprived journal rambling. But deep in the archives of his Colorado Springs notes is a reference to multifaceted self-congruence through vibrational mirroring, which either means time clones or one hell of an ego trip. You drift past a star labeled you, the architect, then you, the wanderer, then one that makes you pause. You, the one who turned back. It's dimmer than the others, still warm, but stint. You reach out. It flares suddenly, and you're somewhere else. A beach, it's twilight. The waves are ink, and the sky hangs low, electric purple. Tesla stands on the shore, barefoot this time. The pigeon is waiting nearby, nonchalantly poking at translucent shells. He says nothing, just gestures to the sand. You kneel. That partially buried is yet another envelope, this one wrapped in copper thread, sealed with wax. You open it, tanned fine. Your own handwriting, a letter you never remember writing. Wait, but undeniably yours. The tone, the strange capitalization of electricity, like it's a god. The joke about socks and static. It begins, if you're reading this, then we made it to layer 7. You read on. It explains that everything since the first envelope has been a recursive loop. The machine doesn't send you forward or backward in time. It sends you sideways through conceptual gradients. Each deeper layer reinterprets reality, memory, and desire in new syntax. That's what Tesla built, a translator between perception states. The letter closes with, the next door will not look like a door. You'll need to remember how to listen backwards. Tesla says, ready? You don't answer aloud. The waves part, not dramatically, no fanfare. They just move, like curtains drawn aside by a stagehand who's late for lunch. Beneath the sea, a staircase made of golden light, floating just above the sand. Each step vibrates softly, like it's playing a reversed piano note. You descend, and with each step, the scenery shifts. Gone is the beach. Now you're in a city, but not your city. Everything is too clean. The buildings hum softly. The trees move like they're breathing. People live. They're even people move through the streets, trailing streams of data like jellyfish tendrils. None look directly at you, but they sense you, respectfully ignoring the way you might pretend not to see a ghost. You walk forward. No plan, no map. It's pulled by the same frequency that's guided you since the beginning. You pass a small market. One stall sells concepts in jars. Nostalgia mint edition. Regret with vanilla notes. Last Thursday. You almost buy one. but the vendor is Tesla againingly now. He's got an apron and a credit card reader. You keep moving. A nearby alley hums in Morse code. You follow it. There's a wall covered in layered flyers, ads for memory implants, dream recyclers, and one particularly confusing one that simply reads, "Got lost." Good. A metal box is affixed to the wall, buzzing faintly. It opens when you breathe on it. Inside, another diagram. You unfold it. This one shows, surrounded by symbols, a circle, a bird, a triangle made of concentric spirals. It's at the center of your drawn self, a heart, and inside it, the shape of the cube from earlier. You realize the letter wasn't sent to you. It was grown inside you. The dream didn't begin when you found it. It's been flowering for a long time. Tesla appears again as a flicker on a screen beside you. He says, "You're close now. One more fold." You turn. Behind you, a glass door now glows, though it definitely wasn't there before. It doesn't look special. No lock, no frame, just waiting. You reach for it, and just as your fingers touch the glass, the world shifts. Not violently, just with finality, like a decision that's already been made. And suddenly, you're back, not in your bed, not in your body, but in a familiar memory. One you haven't visited in years. You're at your childhood desk, a rainy afternoon, broke the window fogged over, a pencil in your hand, a drawing half finished and humming from the other room, your father's old radio, crackling softly. You pause, you listen backwards, and in the static, a voice, not Tesla's, your own. It says, faint but clear, "Wake up." You haven't finished the letter. You blink again, not to wake up, just to remember where you are. The memory folds in on itself, shrinking like a star collapsing into a point of gravity too dense to hold on to. The desk, the radio, the smell of rain gone. In its place, soft, velvet darkness again, but warmer now, like the air in a greenhouse of dreams. You're standing barefoot. It seems on a floor that doesn't feel like floor at all. It's memory-shaped. Every step echoes with places you've been, people you once were, thoughts that drifted too fast to catch the first time around. Ahead of you is the letter, the real one. You're sure of it. Not in an envelope, not ink on paper. Suspended in the air like a hologram stitched together by music. As you approach, it starts to unravel, not falling apart, just unfolding in new dimensions. The letter is a shape, a structure, self-contained symphony of ideas built into architecture. You can walk into it. So, of course you do. You pass beneath an arch made entirely of questions you've never asked. Step over a threshold marked with chalk lines of forgotten decisions. Inside, the letter is a house, Tesla's house, but reimagined. Curved walls, coils woven into the rafters, windows shaped like eyes, books piled everywhere, but none have titles, only emotions on the spine. Curiosity, doubt, elation, compulsion. You feel it before you see it. Something thrumming beneath the floorboards. A heartbeat, not yours, not Tesla's either. Something older, a rhythm left behind by time itself. You descend into the basement where Tesla waits, only not as himself. He's translucent now, less man, more memory. His voice comes from all around you, layered like chords. You've nearly reached a convergence point, but you must decide. Finish the letter or become it. You hesitate. Does that mean? He grins. Exactly, and gestures toward the far wall. There's a door, made of mirrors, thousands of them, shifting, reflecting you, but in lives you haven't lived, in costumes of choices you never made. Each reflection shows you holding the letter differently. One clutches it like a secret, another wears it like a necklace. One eats it, another burns it, but one reflection, just one, opens it and smiles. You step toward that version, and as your hands meet the mirrored glass, you feel everything, every version of you, every moment, branching and collapsing and folding into itself. The letter wasn't meant to tell you what's happened. It was built to show you why it matters. Historians still argue whether Tesla's obsession with the resonance of self was rooted in actual science, or if he'd simply fallen too far into dream logic. Some say he discovered the mathematics of memory. Others say he just really needed sleep. But here, now, us. Your hands press into the mirror door. You realize this isn't about Tesla anymore. It's about you. You pass through the door and find yourself back in the original train car from the beginning. But now, everything is different. The letter is on the seat beside you. The windows show constellations you don't recognize. Across from you sits a stranger, except, not really. It's you, older.com. Wiser, maybe. They hold out the letter. You left this, they say. You take it. And for the first time, you read it fully. It says, you are not lost. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be to become who you already are. The train begins to move again. Slowly, rhythmically, you look out the window and see flashes of every version of your life. You've dreamed about the quiet ones, the terrifying ones, the mundane but beautiful Tuesdays. The other, you fades, nodding. Once the letter folds itself into a bird. The pigeon returns, perching on the back of your seat. It coos once, like a lullaby. You lean back, the lights dim, and now you understand. The letter was written in the language of dreams, only legible to those who have slept deeply enough to remember what they forgot on purpose. You did it, almost. One last stop ahead. You close your eyes and feel the train's rhythm, matching your breath. You're no longer reading the letter. You are the letter being delivered. The train dissolves, not in flames or sound, but like fog in rising sun, gently, respectfully. It's as if it knows it's no longer needed, and you're floating again. But this time, without disorientation. You're not being moved. You're moving. Line between dream and memory has blurred so thoroughly that you no longer care where one ends and the other begins. Because now, at last, you remember. You didn't stumble upon Tesla's letter. You requested it long ago in one of those other lives. Maybe even all of them at once. And the machine is a grand, mythic device behind all this. It never existed in metal and steam. It was made of moments, recurring motifs across time. A sentence, repeated in a stranger's voice. A symbol you doodled as a child before ever knowing its meaning. The machine was your pattern recognition, your subconscious architecture. Tesla, he was never meant to be the guide. He was the mirror, lit up. The corridors you had already carved. You exhaled slowly. Your breath curls into a shape-hand origami sphere of light and floats away. You follow it. It leads you down a corridor of time. Not a tunnel, not a hallway, just moments, strung like pearls, gently wobbling in their own gravity. You touch one, and suddenly, you're 5 years old again, building something out of spare clock parts on the kitchen floor. You don't know why, it's just instinct. But now, in retrospect, you see, it was your first letter to the future. You touch another. You're 17, standing under a street lamp, notebook in hand, about to throw it away. But you pause. You hesitate. Keep it. Send it. Historians still debate whether Tesla's final years were spent in isolation or in silent correspondence with entities across the veil of possibility. They love to cite the dream journals found in his trunk after his death, filled with diagrams, dream timestamps, and one odd note scrawled in Latin, ex somnis veritas, from dreams, truth. Another moment, you're older, scribbling an idea at 3 a.m. on a receipt. The idea makes no sense at the time. You forget about it. Years later, it becomes the foundation of a decision that shapes your whole life. The corridor ends with a door. No mirror this time. No symbols. Just soft wood, warm to the touch. And a familiar doorknob. You open it. Inside, a room full of letters. Every letter you've ever almost written. The apology you never sent. The confession you tucked away. The birthday card you meant to mail. Journal entries you tore out. The messages typed and deleted. They're all here, each sealed, each glowing faintly. And in the center of the room, one final envelope, your name on the front. No return address. You open it, and instead of words, it's filled with sound. Your own voice, reading a story. This story, it loops back to the beginning. You, in the room. Tesla's envelope arriving. The dreams that came next. The pigeons. Mirror, the door. The descent. It was always you, writing the script of your own unfolding. You sit down in the center of the room. The envelopes begin to drift around you, swirling gently as if stirred by wind from another dimension. And they begin to merge, not physically, but conceptually. They become one radiant point of clarity. The letter you've been waiting for your whole life. And now that you've read it, there's nothing left to chase. No riddle unsolved. No future unopened. No version of you that isn't part of the story. You rest your head back against the floor. Feel pulse of time slowed to a whisper. Your thoughts drift outward like pollen, no longer frantic, just curious. And maybe that's what the letter always meant to teach, that you don't need to conquer the future. You just need to be present enough to notice when it calls, and brave enough to answer in dreams. You smile, not because the mystery is solved, but because it never needed solving. It only needed feeling. There's a sound now, low, velvety, like the hush of velvet dragged across marble. And it's your breath, not the sharp inhale of waking life, but the long, slow rhythm of the dreamer who has finally given up trying to control the dream. You're not floating anymore. You're not even standing. You're just here, wrapped in something softer than time. And the letter is no longer a letter. It's not a document. It's not a moment. Not a thing at all. It's a knowing. A pattern you can now feel beneath your skin. Okay? Like the resonance of a frequency tuned perfectly to your name. The pigeon perches nearby again, looking entirely unbothered. In fact, she looks proud, so she was in on it the whole time, because maybe she was. Remember how Tesla spent his last years talking to pigeons? Scholars have long debated whether it was madness or metaphor, his way of processing loneliness, for a code for transmissions we still don't understand. Some say he believed birds carried the electrical signatures of human memory. Others claim he simply admired their unapologetic weirdness. Either way, Swan clearly likes you. She nuzzles close and coos, and suddenly, space around you begins to dissolve, not in alarm, not in confusion, but like sugar melting in warm tea. You realize the story isn't ending, it's just dissolving back into you, as if you'd never left your bed, as if all of this happened in the 2 inches of space between waking and sleep. And maybe it did. You lie back. It's no sound now but your breath. The room folds in around you like a cocoon of dusk. You've reached the convergence point, the moment Tesla hinted at when he said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. You're all three. The story hums once more from somewhere deep inside you and fades because your work here, whatever it was, is done, and the dream is ready to release you, or maybe keep you just a little longer, just enough to let the letter become part of your sleep. The message will stay with you, subtle, gentle, waiting for the next time you close your eyes and find yourself curious enough to look for doors in impossible places. Tesla's gone, the pigeon too, but the frequency remains, whispering, you made it. Now, sleep, you're safe. The story has exhaled, and you can too. Now, let it all fall away. Let the sparks settle. Let the echoes soften. Let the corridors of time fade gently behind you, one quiet footstep at a time. There's no need to hold on to the letter anymore. You've already read what mattered, felt what you needed, dreamed what was true. The story is still there, but now it's tucked beneath your thoughts like a warm undercurrent. It won't leave you, just as Tesla whispered across impossible decades. So too does your mind whisper now. You've gone farther than you think, and you're closer than ever. Your body is heavy in the best way, sinking into softness, breath deepening. Each exhale, brushing past the veil of sleep like wind through curtain threads. You don't need to remember everything. Some stories are meant to be felt, not filed. You already carried the meaning in your stillness, and so we let the last light fade. We let the strange pigeon fly. We let the clock unwind itself until it becomes just the sound of silence. You are safe. You are still. You are enough. And as this dream steps gently back behind the curtain, another waits quietly for its turn. One you haven't met yet, but that already knows your name. Rest now and sleep well, time traveler.